Do you think this is too much?
I'm sure it's fine. Midoriya's smile warmed the chilliest of mornings while the cherry blossoms began to drift in the spring breeze. It was a busy start to the day, grocery shopping for a surprise brunch he wanted to make for his mother. That did, however, include having to wake at 4 in the morning to peruse through the markets for the freshest ingredients. You yawned loudly while carrying various shopping bags on hand, eyeing Midoriya carrying the more heavier ingredients with him. Mostly the meat.
Still trying to wake up?
Asked Midoriya.
Just trying to slip back into my old routine.
You explained, nuzzling your nose into your scarf.
I used to clean my equipment every 2 days at the break of dawn.
You used to clean your guns?
Dismantle and put them back together too. I used to time myself.
You spoke casually and nonchalantly about those memories, recalling that competitive feeling to beat your time again and again. However, you heard nothing from Midoriya, finding that he only stared at you quizzically.
What? I was bored.
You slowly explained, a little embarrassed about the topic.
Oh, that explains your reaction time,
pondered Midoriya, his eyes staring upwards in thought.
Constant practice and muscle memory would only make them second nature to you.
Are you theorizing now?
Maybe a little.
You grimaced and yet smiled at Midoriya, bumping your hip into his playfully. He was still the observant and analytical man, always putting forward his ingenuity over his quirk. Soon the both of you made your way to his old family home in an apartment complex, taking the elevator up before approaching the very familiar front door to his mother's. After a knock or two, the door opened, revealing a short woman whose eyes, upon seeing the both of you, smiled happily.
Izuku!
She greeted, receiving a large hug from Midoriya.
Nice to see you, Mom.
He spoke, pulling away for you to greet her as well.
So good to see you, Inko.
You cooed with a gentle hug.
Hope we haven't disturbed you. Oh, nonsense. What's all this?
She asked, eyeing all of the bags in hand.
Happy Mother's Day,
cheered Midoriya while he lifted the heavier bags in hand.
We're going to treat you with Potluck Brunch.
Izuku had this planned over the last week.
You explained with another yawn escaping your throat.
Nothing but the best ingredients.
Inko glanced between yourself and Midoriya, along with all of the ingredients on hand in astonishment, before her eyes pricked with tears. You contemplated whether she was growing upset. However, she closed in for another hug, sharing it between the both of you.
Oh, you two work so hard. You didn't need to do this.
She cried in happiness. Because of her short height, you glanced at Midoriya, who was also standing awkwardly from the hug, finding that smile on his face again.
We wanted to,
he comforted while he gently pulled away, allowing Inko to release her sudden hold before he entered the apartment.
We'll take care of the cooking and cleaning.
Today is meant for you,
you reassured her, following Midoriya with a smile.
You don't lift a finger at all.
As long as Cutie doesn't grill a cake,
he teased from within, causing your shoulders to stiffen from the twang of embarrassment.
Huh?
Uttered Inko in confusion.
Hey! It was only once!
Entering into the hospital ward still felt like an odd experience. Already having bypassed the reception desk with ease, Todoroki and yourself brought a few gifts for the occasion, including a small bouquet of autumn bellflowers.
Have your brother and sister visited already?
You asked curiously with the resonant sounds of footsteps filling the halls.
Natsu visited after work, and Fuyumi spent the day with Mom yesterday.
Bluntly replied Todoroki.
That's good.
Todoroki eyed a smile on your lips, the both of you walking side by side while he smiled to himself. He cherished these little stares he could steal to see you happy next to him, hoping for you to slowly become more ingrained in his life, now that you were engaged.
What?
You uttered, catching his eye on you.
Nothing.
He replied, still with a warm smile. Soon, room 315 was in sight, before Todoroki knocked on the door, opening it for you to enter first. You spotted his mother by the window, enjoying the gifts that were brought over the past day, until her tired yet calm eyes spotted you by the door.
Welcome,
she greeted, walking up to you with open arms and hugging you. That was unexpected. You quipped in surprise before she gently released you to turn to her son.
Hello, Mom.
Coolly greeted Todoroki.
Please, sit,
invited Rei, pulling you gently by the arm to seat you by the dining table, while Todoroki placed a bouquet of flowers elsewhere. Though the tug of Rei's hands were gentle, it held purpose. You felt it in her grip, in the tiny fingertips, while she pulled you into the room. Something wasn't odd, but it was different.
How are you both?
She asked with delight.
Aside from work, we've been doing fine,
replied Todoroki.
Yeah, there's been a hiccup, but nothing that we couldn't handle with some old friends.
You added with a smile.
I've seen the news,
started Rei, her eyes dulling a little from her thoughts.
That man that is causing a mess. There's no sign of him?
You turned to Todoroki, catching his eye once more before he joined the table, calmly holding onto his mother's hands.
The Commission's got eyes on him. We'll find him soon,
he reassured, receiving a calm smile from his mother.
How are you going, Mom?
I've been well. Natsuo brought over some gifts and Fuyumi visited with some delicious treats and meals.
Rei's eyes turned to Todoroki, filled with a sadness you had seen time and time before.
Your father came by as well. Only for a short while, though.
I see,
shortly replied Todoroki.
Will you be slowly moving back to the estate?
You asked out of the blue, catching Rei off guard.
I mean, there's a place there for you, and maybe it's good to stay close with family. Very soon,
replied Rei without hesitation.
It's a shame. I was hoping to see you more often. Oh, I mean, I don't live far from the hospital, so if ever you need anything, I'm a phone call away.
A silence befell the room, one that felt odd, like how Rei held your hand not too long ago.
What?
Oh, it's not that I don't appreciate the offer, but I would have thought Shouto would have invited this suggestion to you, explained Rei with that content smile, almost similar to the ones she gave on Todoroki's birthday.
Love, would you like to move in with me?
Asked Todoroki from beside you without warning and without fail. A stammer stopped your mouth from forming comprehensible words, taken back by the question. You looked between the two, spotting that content and warm smile on mother and son. Ones that you couldn't object or argue with. This was supposed to be Mother's Day.
This is the best gift yet,
commented Ray, smiling gently at your flabbergasted reaction. Both Bakugou and yourself stood by the front door of his old family home, having arranged half a day to visit his mother for Mother's Day. You noticed how blue the sky was, how bright the sun shone, and how calm the neighborhood felt. If only Bakugou was as cheerful. You eyed him every once in a while, his face unchanging with that scowl etched in his brow. It wasn't his normal, usual, aggravated self. It was more of a "what?" he growled, his eyes glancing into yours.
Nothing.
You responded coolly with a smile.
Don't gloat.
I'm not.
If that hag says anything, we're walking back home.
A snort escaped your nostrils. A small one, but nonetheless one that continued to bubble into your shoulders.
I love your parents,
you commented.
That's what I'm afraid of.
You're here!
Exclaimed Mitsuki, causing a cringe on Bakugou's snarl, but a smile from yours.
Hi, Mitsuki!
You chirped, hugging the woman by the door.
Oh, hush. You can call me Mom now. Mom?
No, shut up, hag.
Reacted Bakugou with a snarl.
They're not calling you that.
I give them my consent, Katsuki. You have no say in the matter.
Snarked Mitsuki. The tension was, well, insurmountably tense, standing between two very aggressive individuals in a staring contest. Until you spotted a familiar set of eyes from inside the house, waving meekly, despite his tall stature.
Hi, Masaru.
You greeted with a wave of your own.
I see the day has started.
He commented while his eyes worriedly observed the growling match his wife and son were dealing with by the door. You only chuckled until...
Oh, you can call him Dad now. Or Pop, whichever you prefer.
Mused Mitsuki with a chirp, with no sign of aggravation on her face or in her voice.
Honey, they don't have to call me.
No, I won't accept it. Our Katsuki has found his one and only, so they're now a part of the family.
Will you shut it, you old hag?
Interrupted Bakugou again.
They're not calling you that, and they don't want to.
You're not the voice of reason here, you brat. Even as a man, you're still a child.
You stuttered at the sudden change and turn of phrase every so often. The thought crossed your mind that you would have been so used to this family dynamic now. But there were some things you hoped you weren't the center of attention for. That was difficult when you were between Bakugou and his mother. You gently held onto Bakugou's arm, pressing your body against it in hopes to comfort him, while you smiled at Mitsuki.
Why don't we cross that bridge when we cross the threshold?
You suggested.
After all, it's your day today, and we are happy to spend it with you out of our hero schedules.
A deep sigh escaped Mitsuki's lips, while she smiled back at you.
Oh, of course. I still think that you're now a part of the Bakugou family, so no pressure when you're comfortable with the new names. You'll hear it straight from me.
You reassured, causing a giggle to erupt from Mitsuki.
Splendid! Come on in.
Mitsuki skipped inside the family home, leaving Bakugou and yourself by the door to spot Masaru following after her, mouthing his thanks to you. You felt Bakugou's aggressive and tense nature wash away while you held onto his arm throughout the small conversation with Mitsuki. tenderly rubbing your hand against his skin before you noticed his stare on you.
Huh, you okay?
You asked with a smile.
Yeah, no thanks to that hag,
He retorted.
but, thanks.
Always here for you.
You felt his large hand intertwine with yours, fingers pressed together, palms touching. A smirk appeared on Bakugou's lips before he led you into his old family home, a place you had become acquainted with for years, now stepping into it as his fiancée. Thank you for tuning in to another fanfiction reading. If you enjoy what I do or would just prefer to fall asleep to my voice, please hit that like button, ring that bell, and subscribe to my channel. I do believe that I am extremely late for this installment, but I got a little carried away and inspired by writing a second generation story for Mother's Day, which you can find on the links down below or in, I guess, on the end screen eventually. But I did originally wanted to do this video for Mother's Day. I do hope you'd enjoyed having a visit from Midoriya, Todoroki, and Bakugou, at least, just for a little while. Thank you for visiting. I hope to hear from you soon. Next we meet.